I was telling Easton that he's my tech producer, co-host, whatever. That's actually Ben.
That's not Easton.
That's not Easton. That's okay.
I know. I started going through the yearbook the other day, and I was just like, oh, look at all this.
I know. I couldn't find. We're moving right now, and I couldn't find for some reason 2 of my yearbooks were missing, and I freaked out about it to my mom and dad, and they're like, "Why do you care about your high school?"
That was my life.
I made them.
That was my
obviously.
life. Like, I had a lot of insecurities in this job because one, I'm being a female in this field. That's a whole thing. That's a whole thing I can go down.
Have you seen any other girls here today? No.
I'm at women's basketball games, and it's me and the videographer as the only 2 females on the sidelines.
Which doesn't make sense.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Girlies, where are we at?
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Next Gen podcast. Today we have a very special guest. I feel like I say that every single time, but today we have a good friend of mine, Reece from high school, who I actually... Please welcome.
Hi guys.
For some reason, this is so entitled of me. I like to take credit
for being on social media.
Yes. And therefore the start of both of our careers.
It literally is.
So I was telling Easton that he's my tech producer, co-host, whatever. That's actually Ben.
That's not Easton.
That's not Easton. That's okay. But this is Easton's computer and Easton's software. So
shout out Easton.
Yeah, shout out to Easton, who I could not do all the editing without him.
No.
I was telling him, he was like, "Who is this again?" And I was like, "This is she came on and did social media with me." We blew that up. In the sense of high school social media.
We run COVID news for the Blue Valley District. It was the whole thing.
We really did.
I love that they still use our same format sometimes too. I'm like, let's go.
I see that on there. I'm like, oh,
proud of you guys at
simplest. Yeah. So how are you since high school? I don't think I've seen you since I graduated.
No, I don't.
It's been 4 years.
Well, once again, we both work in sports, so we know that schedule.
We don't have weekends.
No, what's a weekend? What's the time?
Mornings.
Everyone's like, "Aren't you going home for Christmas break?" I was like, "Yeah, for 5 days, and then I have to come back for a week because we have games, and then I gotta go back." But luckily, our games this weekend were in St. Joe, so
yeah, they're.
I gotta drive up there after this and shoot practice.
And you were just in Vegas.
Yep, I was in Vegas.
I don't even.
I feel like I should probably intro what I do.
Okay, so for those who don't know, Reece goes to K-State, which it's fine. I know. I think you're the first Wildcat on the show. Actually.
Oh my gosh, let's go represent.
I could be wrong, so don't quote me on
it.
But maybe. And yeah, what are you doing up there besides for just killing it with photos?
No, thanks. I am a student photographer intern for K-State Athletics. And so I'm the primarily women's basketball team photographer. So I travel with them every shoot, all the recruits, every game. I'm there with them, and it's so much fun. I get to help them with NIL stuff too, and all kinds of things. But yeah.
What does the NIL scene how do you get to help out with that?
Luckily, because of how NIL is, it's set up separately. So they contract me out kind of freelancing instead of what I would get paid working for athletics, which that's an intern pay. That's the whole thing.
Right.
But I'm up in January. We'll be doing something for Charlie Hustle, so I'm excited for that because I've never really done a lot with big companies.
Partnerships.
Yeah,
that's basically what I do here. Which I feel like I've totally lost my photography side, which is
yeah. It's okay, you can always bring it back.
No, I love it. I got to work the KU Colorado game a couple weeks ago, and they were like, "Well, we want you to do some social posts, but other than that, you have a sideline pass and a press room pass, but just some social posts, and that's all you need." And I was like, I'm bringing my camera.
Yeah, no, if you get the pass, you're going.
And I feel like in high school, you know me.
And we broke any rules.
We broke every rule that we could. We were the bigger the better.
The bigger the better. I didn't know this, but some people, at least some of my coworkers, one of my coworkers, he was from a St. Louis high school. He got the whole team a foul or a call. I think it was football. For being too close to the sidelines, and they had a 5-yard penalty because he was too close. I was that's something I would do.
Same.
I'd be mortified.
I got my foot stepped on at the KU Colorado game, and I was like, "This isn't true Alex fashion." I always got injured.
Got hurt, got hit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Before we get into what you're doing now, also a fun fact: I usually have a little sheet next to me of information about them, where they went, the start of their career, where they are now.
My career's all.
I'm just raw dogging.
My career actually started Blue Line North High School.
No, that's what we're talking about. So did mine though. So it's perfect. But I'm
shout
so
out Miss Chloe. Honestly, I hope Miss Chloe is watching this right now.
Whatever her last name is now. No,
Miss
I know. I will never.
I'll never remember. She's sorry, Miss Chloe. You're always.
I had her as a college professor for like a Photoshop.
I heard about this. I heard about this because some random person I knew that went to KU was like, he like screenshotted a picture of this teacher, and I was like, no way.
Yeah.
I was like, I know her.
Yeah, I randomly. It was like a 6 p.m. Thursday night class.
What was it?
Photoshop. It was just like half a semester, or maybe it was either Photoshop or Illustrator. I don't remember which one, honestly.
Probably Illustrator right here. She was an Illustrator queen.
I think she teaches both. I just don't remember which one I took with her and which one was like a different teacher.
Yeah.
But I was like, usually I wouldn't say yes to this. Like, it was a Zoom class, so it wasn't
okay.
But I was like, just for her, I'll do it.
She's a great teacher.
It was a good time. So let's do a little reminiscing.
Okay.
Let's go back to Blue Line North.
At BBN News.
I know. BBN News, aka me and Reece.
I feel like I should send I feel like if we have pictures of us like in the room 411 of us just like sitting there like making
I'm sure I know we have selfies covering games because I have one specific one of the two of us. We would like wall sit.
Yes. Yeah.
We were our legs were like, which makes no sense.
We're both tall girls.
Yeah. And we want those low angles.
But we didn't really have any guidance either, so we would just do what we thought would work, you know.
It did.
The job was done, and we got to work out.
Let's look at the majority of all of those pictures from the time we were both in yearbook and newspaper, and be like, how many of the pictures posted were ours?
I know. I started going through the yearbook the other day, and I was just like, oh, look at all this.
I know. I couldn't find. We're moving right now, and I couldn't find for some reason 2 of my yearbooks were missing. And I freaked out about it to my mom and dad. And they're like, why do you care about your high school?
That was my life.
I made them.
That was my life.
Honestly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I was looking through, I had a bunch of the photos saved, and you can look up your like camera settings. And I would look at my camera settings, and they were just
all in sports mode.
Like sports mode?
Yeah.
Didn't know what an f-stop was, didn't know what ISO was.
No, I didn't know that until recently, not even gonna lie. It's okay. Hey, it was working for me. I wasn't gonna change it.
Hey, it's the triangle, the aperture, your aperture, shutter speed, and your ISO. This whole thing. What kind of camera do you have?
It's a Canon Rebel T7.
Nice.
7i.
7i. I started on T. Well, I guess I started on the T6 that we had.
Yeah.
Whatever we had there. Which now I guess they have a bunch of mirrorless cameras, which is.
I know.
I was like, I had to buy my own, but thanks.
Mm-hmm.
But now I have an R6 Mark II. It's my little baby.
Fancy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have any of my big boy.
I don't have any big boy lenses either. I have to rent them from work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll rent them every now and then from the KUJ school, but I always forget.
Mm-hmm. K-State doesn't have many in their like J school. Like it's hard. Because technically it's not even J school anymore. They made it media communications.
Okay, ours just changed that to it. No one calls. It's technically now like I think it's because the journalism school, but there's a third major, so it's like I don't even know.
What is your major technically?
Like, well, I actually switched. I'm not even journalism anymore. I'm sports management.
I'm public relations and advertising.
Right.
Because I was like, I just need to know how to represent myself as a brand.
Literally. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I switched to sports management because I knew that I wanted to do like brand PR and stuff for specifically sports. I was like, if it's not sports, I'm not doing it. So.
No, for real. I actually was like kind of thinking this summer, at least like thinking internships, like I was more like sports marketing, like thinking about the commercial side of it. Mm-hmm. I just took a sports marketing class this semester, which honestly was really hard. Did not realize how much math went into sports. Yeah. Like there's all these different testings, like for how like websites are set up. Like I was like, why is there so much?
I know,
but I love
that was what like changed my whole career. Was literally taking the intro to sport marketing class, and I was because that's what I'm doing now. Because I do all of our like branding and like any sort of, which is even weirder. Doing it for here. Yeah, I'm not doing it for a team, which is like the ideal thing. But I'm doing it for I am marketing a company who wants to do your marketing.
Yeah. Like you're trying to convince them why you are good.
So I go to a company,
which I love, and that's how K-State kind of is. It's like we have to convince, like our whole thing recently with like the NIL things is ticket sales, like how you have to like display the like atmosphere of Kansas State in these games. Like it's okay, the action's cool, get the action, right? But what's gonna make people want to come? You have to think about it. Like it's not just me taking pictures for fun. Like I have to make sure I'm creatively and effectively showing the storytelling aspects that also can be used as a marketing.
How do you like my biggest struggle with photography in general? How do you make it not feel like work?
I mix things up a lot.
Okay.
Like, if sometimes it does feel like work, because like I also feel like as of right now, like, I have 3 grad shoots to edit, and I have practice tonight that I have to go to shoot, and then I have a game, like, and it just piles up, plus school.
Right.
And I'm like probably working at least 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just get burnt out, but then I mix it up. I like do fun shoots. So like this last week, I was starting to feel really burnt out with finals and all these games because like seasons just started, but like I had 4 games in a week, and that was just crazy work.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, "Hey, like I need some modeling visuals." I was like, "I've never done that before, but like let's do it."
Yeah.
And so just like doing different creative things here and there, and then we're just remembering like I have a cool job. Right. I have like I saw that TikTok trend. There was like your job is someone else's dream job.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've worked so hard to get here, and I'm only in the beginning of it. Like, this is just putting my foot through the door.
Right.
So I was like, kind of seeing it as such an opportunity and not work.
Fair enough. Yeah.
It's all mindset. It really is.
How did you get there at K-State? Like, graduating North.
So I graduated from North. Did all the photography my like senior years when I really got into it. Then I started working for the Collegian, which was the newspaper, and the Royal Purple, which is the yearbook at K-State. And that got me the opportunity to get to events. And like when I tell you I picked up everything that I could, I was everything. I took pictures of squirrels, like literally everything.
Why squirrels?
You don't know. I guess you don't know a lot about K-State. The K-State squirrel war is like a whole thing.
Okay, well, KU has squirrel wars,
but like they're everywhere.
Yes,
people make little squirrel houses. There's squirrel houses on campus.
My sister goes to Ole Miss. She's a freshman, and she was like, "Alex, the squirrels here, you don't understand." And I was like, "No, it's like an actual thing. It's like they're campus squirrels.
They're just there.
That's what they are at every campus.
It's hilarious." But like they needed it for yearbook spread, and I was, you're like, "Can someone just like do this?" I was like, "I'll do it." Any like random event ever, I was like, "I'll pick it up." So that helped grow my portfolio, and then I just kind of networked. And I found out that later I was getting like watched by the athletics program for like 6 months before they decided to like pick me up. But I tell you, I literally got a text from boss there previously. He just texted me and goes, "Send me your resume and your portfolio." And out of nowhere. And so I sent to him. 3 days later, he's like, "Okay, we'd like to offer you this job. Come in." Da, da, da. And I just came in, and ever since then, I just started working for them, which was like a year ago, September. So it's about a year and a half almost.
Dang.
Yeah.
Okay. Doing just photography? Are you doing anything on like the digital creation side?
I do some on my own digital creation wise, but I do a lot of, because as of right now, we don't have a current boss, so a lot of us kind of have to help pick up in other areas. So I do a lot of, there's so much behind the scenes work in photography. There's a lot of like, there's IPTC metadata, all of that. There's a lot of metadata with like organization and file storage and like kind of organizing and separating what is most important from years past and what are people going to need now. A lot of planning and scheduling. Like we have all kinds of different shot lists because we get requests from so many different departments. Because as the communications department, you got FES, which is fan experience. They have shots that they need you to get. You got the NIL people needing stuff. You got the teams wanting their stuff. You got the players wanting these specific shots. So kind of organizing all those lists. And I also, as one of the, like, we call ourselves like the veteran photographers. Like there's 4 of us that have been there for a year or so, and 4 that just started this year. So it kind of was a lot of teaching, which was crazy because I was like, I just feel like I don't even know enough to be teaching. So I kind of had to grow up and like be a leader and also learn how to collaborate with other people and be leaders together. But it's all worked out really well. So yeah, it's a lot.
How are you taking on that leadership role? And do you feel like you're more in teacher mode or still getting your own shots and doing what matters to you?
I feel like I was in teacher mode for a while, and then I kind of needed to take a step back because I was like, I wish we had a teacher right now, but I looked to like one of the girls who graduated last year, named Kendall. She was the women's basketball team photographer last year, and now she works for a bunch of schools in California. So she's kind of like my mentor, and I look up to like a bunch of people in the industry, especially female photographers.
Obviously.
So I kind of learned from them and then learned from that of how to like teach others, which luckily these new kids, they're all good now. Like we're 6 months in, they've got it down. It's awesome. But I've kind of been able, at least with women's basketball and traveling, like at away games, I'm able to just like shoot. And it's great.
Right. That is great. Yeah. What does run me through like an average week? What does your
average week
full life, work, personal life balance look like?
So I only have class twice a week because, and I do a lot of online classes too. I don't love the classroom setting, so it's not my thing.
No, I'm fully online.
It's just so much better that way. It works out. So I do that on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then I go into work Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. For the most part, depending on game schedule too, but those are like my office hour days. And then on a game day, my typical game day would be, I have to be there about I'm supposed to be there 2 hours before, but I get there like 4 hours before because I just have all my gear ready. Like I gotta be in the mindset. And then I guess I get ready for like a game, which I would start. The girls start walking in at 90 minutes before tip off.
Yeah.
So then I wait out in a little hallway where they walk in, which is so funny because all these like random workers are just like, "What are you doing?" I'm just like sitting there in the corner with the camera and my flash, getting ready to shoot walk-ins. So I do all that, and then I go eat my media meal, which is always great.
Of course.
Love a media meal. And then I wait for warm-ups, get some good warm-up shots. Warm-ups are really fun because that's where you get to get up close and get some creative shots. And then wait for starting 5, all of that, all the fun lights.
Mm-hmm.
And shoot the game. Sometimes there's weird halftime things. And we usually leave a second shooter and sometimes a third shooter, depending on how big the game is. So I make sure that they're doing okay. We're all figuring our stuff out. And then post game is just like if we win, you get celebrations. Sometimes if it's a really big game, you never know with Yoki Lee that there are going to be celebrations and stuff. And then I go home and not home. I go back. Practically my home. I go back to the 6th floor of Bill Snyder Family Stadium and edit and get everything done.
How long does it take you to edit through?
Oh God, depends on the mindset I'm in.
Fair.
If I'm really locked in, an hour and a half, because I have to do all this data. I tag every photo of who the players are with like all this code. Then I have to edit all the things, and I'm an overshooter, and I'm proud. I'm a proud overshooter. But I at least have like 3,000 pictures after every game to go through.
Right.
So it takes me a minute to cull, but I've gotten really used to the process. And sometimes also we have someone live editing the games for social and all that. So sometimes if it's a smaller game like all these non-com, we just tag them and upload them.
Yeah.
Because and then I'll go back on a later date, go through, make sure I didn't miss anything.
Right.
So those days are better because that takes me like 45 minutes, not even. But
what have been your favorite experiences you've gotten through journalism and through photography?
Well, I think my big turning point was when I started traveling with track and field last year. I was like, I just decided I was going to stay and work over the summer, and they're like, okay, well, we need someone to travel with track and field for like all their postseason stuff. And track and field doesn't have a lot of home meets, so I didn't tell a lot of them. But I ended up going to Baylor was the first one for Big 12s, and that was really fun. And that was a whole new experience. I was like, wow, but so many people, so much networking, got really close to the athletes and kind of started making those athlete relationships. Ended up then being able to go to Arkansas for, what was it, semifinals, quarterfinals, something like that. And then going to Oregon with them for the national championship, which that was wild because Hayward Field itself is like such a historic place and like just known. And literally like the, what was it, Team USA?
Yeah.
What do they call those?
Like
the Olympic trials. Yeah. That's what they're called. We're there, and it was really cool to be at that place. And
did you meet KU journalist while you were doing?
I did. I just can't remember her name. I remember his face, and I met him a couple times.
Sevenbergen?
That name sounds familiar. I also met one of the videographers.
I don't know if he did videography or photography. But he has like a copy and paste story of like he was doing more video side.
Yeah.
He was actually one of my first guests on the show, and he I think his first one traveling was to Baylor.
Yeah.
And same thing, like he was like, I fell in love with all the athletes.
Oh, he's just a whole
Oregon. Yeah. So
I also was like, I got to travel with him for every step of the way. So I like kind of felt like I was part of it. Like I got so like emotionally invested, but also it was like a chance that I finally realized like, wow, I can actually do this. Like I'm not. Like I had a lot of insecurities in this job because one, being a female in this field. That's a whole that's a whole thing I can go down.
Have you seen the other girls here today? No.
I'm at women's basketball games, and it's me and the videographer as the only 2 females on the sidelines.
Which doesn't make sense.
What? Girlies, where are we at? I know that there's the girlies out there too.
I know. We're getting better.
I was like, at work, I have 3 female bosses. It's great.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Because I always like people are like, yeah, so who's your boss? Like, where is he? I go, oh, she is over there. I love it.
When I show up,
and she's like, my main boss is like a 5'3" little tiny girl. Like, that's my boss.
Whenever I show up to like our events, and they're like my intern, one of my interns who is now my boyfriend. Funny story. I know.
I love it.
So my boss told all the interns the first time I was meeting them was a big event that I had planned. And I was like, I'm going to need some of you to be photographers. I'm going to need some of you to help me with like the promotional side of it, whatever. And so I had been communicating with them all through email, which of course with the name Alex, no one knew who
that's how it is with me too. Reece, like, has it's such a.
I love it.
It's awesome. And I spell mine the boy way,
whatever.
Right. But anyways, it helps. It helps so much because I also was like, I would apply for internships. I'm like, I'm taking my name. I'm taking my face off of it.
Yeah.
Like, I used to have like a little headshot. Yep. It's like, nope, they don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
They can see who I am once I make it through.
They can look at my resume and use my portfolio, and those can be the pictures they look at, actually. Yeah. But so my boss just told them all, oh, Alex will meet you there. Just look for Alex. Didn't give them like, she'll be wearing this, nothing like that. Just look for Alex. So he literally, like, his name's Jack, has also like first guest on the show or second guest on the show. Anyways, he's told me now the story, like they were all like sitting together, figured out they were all the interns, and they were looking for this Alex. Okay. And I like walked by not realizing any of it, and they were all like, oh, do you think that's Alex? And he literally said, no, like Alex is probably a boy. Yeah, we had some talks about that.
Alex is probably a boy. Nope. Alex is not a boy.
No. And I'm your boss, actually. Get used to it. Yeah. We can talk like next week, and I'm like, this is gonna be real fun.
I love it.
How do you think you would deal with staying on this topic? Because you know I love it.
I could stay on this topic. I feel like we even talked about this when we were kids. Like in high school. I feel like we were always.
Yeah. Always. Like, big football boys.
Remember those people?
That we get into that actually. We said
okay, there was these couple random girls, and I think there was some guys too. That didn't work for the yearbook or the newspaper and had fake media passes and took our spots.
We got media passes that like the school gave to.
The school gave us permission to make them. Like they're like, oh yes,
they gave us to like the journalism teacher and said, yes, you can let your girls or like. Not sorry, we were all girls.
There was like two guys.
But anyways, like you can let your, I don't even know, not classmates. What would it be? Your students. That's the word. Yeah, students. You can let your students go. Just like this is how many you can have. So then
so it's 2 or 3 per game. And also we submitted names. Names were submitted of who was going to go
to the teacher who kept track of it. Like we were in trouble if we didn't make it.
Yeah,
obviously, like they were counting on us. And we would even be told by the school, like if we tried to sneak a third person in or whatever, like the school would tell her, like, you had too many people there.
Yeah.
So it started becoming back. Well, I'll let you tell the story.
No, you're doing good.
Okay. It started coming back to her, like there's too many people on the field, and she started being like, guys, like, what are you doing? Like, it's not us.
It's not us.
We were supposed to be there. We were there.
When I tell you, we were taking videos. We were like, these are we're like, we don't know that. And I remember the game that they got kicked off.
Well, yeah, because a couple times we would get in trouble, and like the AD would come up to us, and we'd be like, "I'm so sorry. Like, look, this is our press pass."
We literally would pull up the social media and be like,
"This is us. Like, we are legitimately doing our job." And also, the thing that bothered me,
the fact we had the gear that said BVN, like whatever it was.
The fact that like the thing that bothered me is we were told from day one, like, you get close, but you don't get like you're not up in.
It's the same. Like, okay, obviously, high school games are a lot different than like these kind of football games, but obviously, like. You stay far enough back. You're not in the action. And, like, they were, like, up with the team talking to the players.
Straight up talking to players and coaches during
it. Crazy.
And then we would be the ones getting in trouble saying, like, step back. And we're like, you're being at a respectful
distance. This is how female sports in high school, too. I was like, this is not how we are supposed to be represented.
No.
I was like, no.
No.
Because I didn't even care that they were on the field. And, like, obviously I do care. You weren't supposed to be there. But if you're going to be there, represent all of us well. Like,
well,
don't embarrass us.
We were to be there, and they literally, like, made, like, stupid.
Like, I get it. You would want to be us too. Like,
they wanted to talk to the football boys. Let's be real. They wanted to talk to
By the way, I do not work in this industry to talk to any male athletes. I'm a women's sports photographer through and through. But future jobs, I will work for male teams too.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I love women's sports. I love them.
I do too.
Women's basketball is awesome.
I love women's sports, but I just happen to gravitate towards men's sports. And, you know, I'm okay saying that.
That's okay.
As a feminist,
that's okay.
A true feminist.
Yeah. That's okay. I mean, I like men's sports too, but, like, there's just something about women's basketball and the rise of it right now.
No, women's basketball, love it. I will not watch baseball.
I don't like baseball. I don't like baseball. Like, I'll do it. Like, I'll shoot it, but
I love shooting it because it's so slow that it's so easy.
I love how fast basketball is. I don't even I like football, but still, one, I don't have the gear right now to shoot football because you gotta have those big lenses.
Yeah,
and I'm like on my little 7200, like, what is going
on? That's
on?
why I was at the KU game. I was like, I don't have the right stuff for this. I'm gonna do it anyway.
That's how cool you gotta shoot an Arrowhead, though.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was so much fun.
I kind of wish that the KU game was your home game because it would have been one, it would have been packed.
Right.
That
Well,
would be
the
crazy.
only reason it wasn't is because it was you guys' year.
It was our year, yeah. But I was like, we should have switched it up.
That was one year that we should have been like, give them the next 2 years because this is iconic.
We'll do 2 and 2.
Right. Like when KU and MU used to play, they would always play to Arrowhead because they knew
they could have made. They would have made so much money.
I know. They didn't have like the media rights all signed until the day before.
I heard that. I saw that, and I could not believe it. That would have been so bad if you.
Yeah, it was a whole mess. But back to women in sports media.
Yeah, back to women sports.
Have you run into any issues?
Oh yeah.
Like?
Oh yeah. So this is actually happening to me the past couple of games. So we have designated spots, and it will have like K-State creative or K-State videographer, K-State photographer, and there's like some like old men who will just sit there, and I'll be like, hey, like I'm sorry, like this is my spot, like can you move over, like, and they won't move over spots. He'll just go,
yeah,
no, like this is my spot, and so I'll pull my A pass on them. I've also gotten by security. They've come up to me. And my boss asking if I was supposed to be there. That one hurt. I was like, I have an A pass. They thought like it was fake and that I was just there. So that happened. That was not fun. And just this actually happened to me at a tournament, and I was in Vegas. There was this guy. He was shooting both teams, but like I was getting I'm the team photographer, so obviously I'm with the team like up close. So I'm trying to get like them doing like a little huddle. And he goes in front of me and tries to start shooting. And I was like, one, I don't care if you shoot the team.
Right.
Don't be in my way. Like, don't cut me off and get my
Just
shot.
anyone, no matter
how
close they are. Like, if someone's doing their thing, leave
but
them
just
alone.
like every time it's been. Every time.
I was like, guys, there's enough room in this industry for both of us, okay? And I love women.
My followers are the most supportive people of women in sports.
I think the young guys get it.
They're getting better.
It's just in general
just
how it's going to be.
We call them Nikons. We call all the guys Nikons. Because all of them always shoot Nikon. Nothing against Nikon. Not my favorite brand, personally. I'm a Canon girl through and through.
I think it's because we know.
It's what we knew, and also it's one of the best ones for photography. It is the best for colors. It just, when you look at that, like, specs of it, they're great. Nikons are fine. They always have Nikons.
That's a great point. I wonder why.
Because it's so old. It's
yeah.
such a... I mean, Sony's the newest brand. You don't. Sony's mainly more video, like all the videographers.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Sony
for sure.
But I love Canon.
I will never get any.
Canon, please sponsor us.
Literally,
please.
We like them big.
K-State photo department.
I love it.
I know.
That was a running joke. We want the big. Like, who has the big lenses? It's Alex.
I love the big ones.
That was literally. I
said that one. We did.
What were their names?
Yeah, they were all named Friends characters and How I Met Your Mother characters
in Harry Potter. Because I think that I had
Ron. I think Ron.
I was to say I had Ron.
No, you did have Ron. I had another guy.
I had Ron, and then I think I had Chandler.
Mm-hmm.
I had Ron and Chandler.
I love Chandler. Mm-hmm. I used Chandler a couple times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and one of them,
I really want to go back.
Oh, I know.
I want to go again.
I say it's already past school time.
I do. I think I could sneak in too, but so many people know us, especially because we have so many siblings that have come through it too.
Yeah, my brother still goes there.
Yeah, same. My little sister and brother go there.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
My little brother likes to send me pictures of like my little name on the flag. I'm like, I didn't even know my parents bought that for me. Like, what are we doing?
On what?
There's like that. Remember going to launch with the flags? I was like, why did you guys do that?
Mine says like yearbook, newspaper, feminism club, softball. My parents are so pissed that I put softball last.
Oh my gosh, guess what I literally was looking at this. Remember that whole news article we made about what was it called? More Than Just a Game, and everybody had the signs. I'll pull it up right now.
Is it like the COVID one?
No, maybe it was COVID. It was it was a story that we wrote about. I literally just looked it up the other day. BBN News. I had to look it up on that. You're gonna remember it once you see it.
Probably. I literally remember like the hours is. Yes,
I know. Yes. I was like, we were little feminists beforehand, and they all had the signs. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, I was like, and I remember that I made it. Like, yeah.
Okay.
I wonder what my settings were on that
stuff. So like uncomfortable about her picture. She was like,
I think everybody was. And a lot of people, like I remember people that I interviewed were asked me not to put certain quotes in because they were scared that they were going to get.
I remember this story. I think it was for the yearbook. Where Big Mike made an appearance.
don't know what we could say about that.
You just told me to take a lot of that out.
We tried to write a story, which we thought was just a fun little, what are your superstitions? And it turned out to be like an expose about the baseball team.
It was a whole thing.
God. Big Mike.
What?
Athletes are weird.
Athletes are weird. I know what.
Have you gotten close to any? Like, are you?
I'm good friends with some of the women's basketball team.
I feel like women's basketball, they're just supportive. They're just thankful that you're there in general.
Yeah, they actually appreciate the support. Yeah.
Where I feel like at least KU basketball, which is different.
Yeah.
Because they.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love KU basketball. I think that they're a little like, they think they're hot shots, which like, they literally are. But
you lost to 2 unranked teams, back to back. Just saying. Not saying our team's any better. Not saying our team's any better. We just had a player get dismissed, so it's
I saw that.
I have no idea why. Sometimes I get to know some tea at work, and I was just like, when I came out, and I was like, 1, what does dismissed mean? 2, who, what? I don't know.
I wonder if like it had to be legal.
It had to be legal, which we already had that issue last year too.
Mm-hmm.
So
you guys have a lot of issues with that.
Clearly, I don't know what's going on. That's why I'm with the women's team. I don't work for the women's team.
Right. I don't know like any KU sports tea, honestly. I wish I did. I'd tell you if I did. You know that
I signed an NDA.
That's so good.
Yeah, and I also cannot legally sports bet. I cannot sports bet because on any level, which is actually fine because I don't think I would. But yeah, I'm not allowed to sports bet.
At KU sophomore year, I produced the sports betting show.
I love that for you.
Mm-hmm. I could not sports bet.
Your parlays hit.
Yeah. Duh.
She's rich. I told my boyfriend that every time his parlay hits, he has to take me shopping.
Oh yeah, my boyfriend, all of his sports betting winnings go into the Alex fund.
Yes.
I'm really glad that we're
men take notes.
Yes.
That probably was like.
He's like, oh, my parlay hit. I'm like, awesome. So you buying my Starbucks tomorrow?
Oh, thanks. I'll take the Venmo.
Yeah, literally. Yeah,
I love that.
Great.
That's
I love
awesome.
being treated like a little princess. It's like the one time that I'm like, I don't want to be an independent.
I don't want to be an independent woman anymore.
Yeah. As soon as he's around, I'm like, brain is off, and I'm like an 8-year-old girl.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's perfect. Okay, well, I feel like we've gotten off topic.
So many.
So, last little touch. What would you, to young women in the field trying to get into it, what would be your advice?
I actually think about this all the time because so last year at Women's Sports Day, they brought in a bunch of little kids that were interested, and I taught a little girl how to start like using my camera and taking photos. And just like watching their like eyes light up, I was just like, it almost made me cry. And I think about that all the time. And that's one of my things. Like anytime I feel burnt out, I think about that. I think like I used to wear this little press pass with this camera, and I didn't know what I was doing. And look at where I've come to now.
Right.
And as someone who's also struggled with so many other like outside things, it's really taught me my individualism. And so just like looking back, like know that you can do this. Know that it's gonna be hard. It's very hard, and life is hard. That's what I've learned growing up and being an adult now or whatever I am. But it's gonna be hard. It's not an easy journey, and you kind of have to be confident, stay true to yourself. Know that you are supposed to be there. That women are meant for this field.
For sure.
That you know sports. You're not just there for the boys or for the fun, for the popular. It's not about that. It's about the game.
Yeah.
And it's about the individual and the storytelling and the person you can make of yourself out of it. Yeah.
I love that. That's so cute. Okay. Well, let's wrap it up here. Shout out your Instagrams for me. I know you have 2.
Okay.
Put them both in there.
My main one is Arbachta Photo. RPACHTA photo. That will be all my photos. And then my normal Instagram is just my name, Reece Bakta. So, yeah.
Easy enough. Well, Reece, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me on.
This was so much fun. I think this is our first little women in sports moment.
I love it.
I've had like female athletes, but I haven't had like a true like let's talk about
woman working in sports. Yeah.
Exactly.
I love it.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Until next time. We will see you guys next week with the Next Gen podcast. Of course, this episode is brought to you, per usual, by A10 Sports Radio. A10 Sports Radio bringing you the power of the next generation of sports, both men and women, of course. So we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.